Will you strive for justice and peace among all people and respect the dignity of every human being? Will you? This is the question where we, the ones who are being baptized and confirmed, and the ones who are reaffirming our commitments. This is the question where we commit ourselves to live in the whole world, to move beyond just our most immediate and tangible neighbors, and to offer ourselves to the big project of being part of God's far-flung family. Will you? This is the question where we, the ones who are being baptized and confirmed, and the ones who are reaffirming our commitments. This is the question where we commit ourselves to live in the whole world, to move beyond just our most immediate and tangible neighbors, and to offer ourselves to the big project of being part of God's far-flung family. Will you strive for justice and peace among all people and respect the dignity of every human being? Justice and peace among all people. If you've ever been to a protest march or a rally, or maybe even just heard one go by, you may have heard people chanting, "No justice, no peace." It's not always totally clear if it's meant as a threat, a promise, or maybe just a declaration of reality. Certainly there can be divisions among us about what justice means exactly in a given situation. But this question takes justice and peace together because in the end it's impossible to have one without the other. If we take seriously God's love and concern for all people, there's no way we can accept a peace that doesn't include the possibility of hope and love and dignity and wholeness for everyone. And at the same time, we don't get to abandon the quest for peace. We've seen far too much about how wars and conflicts among the powerful end up harming the people who are inevitably in the way, end up creating injustices even as they may solve power struggles. So our best work for justice and peace takes the two together and always asks, who's left out of the vision? Whose voice has gone unheard? Whose protests have we dismissed as too difficult to accommodate? Who have we been willing to sacrifice in our excitement for and conviction of our own righteousness? As we strive for justice and peace, we are called back to love, to put love at the center of our efforts, and to remember those other promises that we've already made. To remember and to insist that God loves and treasures each and every human life and all that God has made. Will you strive for justice and peace among all people and respect the dignity of every human being? So at first, this second half, respect the dignity of every human being, may seem like the easier part of the question. Most of us would probably, hopefully, affirm that we generally try to treat each other well, that we show respect, that we try not to trample on each other's dignity. But when we dig a little deeper, I believe this question's about something that's bigger than just our day-to-day interactions. though it may encompass those as well. This question pushes us further and further beyond the limits of what we are able to see, the limits of our own worldviews. We all have those limits. There are people we can't see. There are people whose lives are invisible to us. And there are people who we may know about, but whose beliefs and ways of understanding themselves, ways of understanding the world, may be so incomprehensible to us that it's hard to imagine them as fully human in quite the same way that we are, or that our neighbors are, or that the people close to us are. So in this part of the question, we're called to move towards God's worldview, towards that God's eye view, where no one is lost, where no one is a stranger, where no one is seen only at a distance. Everyone is up close. Everyone has real joys and real sorrows and real connections. And everyone's joys and sorrows are just as real and just as pressing as ours. And God is right there in the middle of it all, weeping and rejoicing with us and with all. And we are being called into new life, a life that is bigger than the one we've been handed, a life where everyone is just as real and just as up close and just as beloved and just as comprehensible as we are.